The truth is that the matter of who you will fall in love with is predetermined as early as your childhood days. Who you will fall in love with and be attracted to is really predestined at times. It's that all of our emotional relationships are replicating the pattern of our relationship with our parents. There's a term in psychology called traumatic attraction, which is when you've suffered some traumatic event caused by your parents in your childhood, which creates low self-esteem, disappointment, insecurity, and those negative emotions. Then when you grow up, after you experience familiar traumatic feelings in a person, you are attracted to them and there is no way you can pull yourself out of it. Because this trauma-laden relationship model brings you the familiar feeling of security. A child who was neglected, when he grows up and he meets his neglectful partner again, he may not immediately think of breaking up. Even though he feels bad about being neglected, in his subconscious mind, this is a familiar pattern of relationship. He can anticipate, within that familiarity, what might come next. Then, for him, predictable hurt, then unforeseeable love, feel more secure, so he is always attracted to this type of person, looking for that familiar security in similar relationship patterns. Similarly, a person who has been asked to be well-behaved and obedient since childhood, even though his personal needs are always suppressed, he would like to find a controlling partner, who will not think of resisting, and will even compromise, give in, and lower his bottom line one at a time in order to satisfy the other person's desire for control. Because a child who has been particularly obedient since childhood is not able to get rid of the dependence on his parents in his heart, so he needs to find a person he needs to find a partner who can bring him a feeling similar to that of his parents. In addition to traumatic attraction, many people stubbornly stay in the same relationship mode. In fact, want to go to save the once that wounded self. What are his inner thoughts? My first relationship failed. I learned my lesson and made some changes. So will it be different next time? So he will keep going back to the past. The first one was a grumpy one, and he'll find a grumpy one in every next one. The first one was a womanizer, and every next one was less than honest. Attempting to find a truly accepting partner in these same people as a way to prove that he is worthy of being loved. In other words, he is using a pattern of creating trauma to heal trauma. This behavior of placing the expectation of proving that he is worthy of being loved on someone else reveals exactly what he lacks within himself. And a person who is not strong enough inside attracts only those who are not of good character, who carry a certain purpose, and who eventually begin to self-doubt, and even self-attack in one bad ending after another. Hearing this, would you not think that childhood trauma has already been formed? Is it not doomed? Isn't there no way we can get out of this loop? Why else would I tell you this? You have to realize that most of us actually enter into intimate relationships with some amount of trauma. Showing you your own trauma is not for you to use the excuse that I have been traumatized as an excuse for all of your problems, and then go lie down. Trauma forms in our childhood. I don't get to decide that. But as adults, we have to work hard to address the negative effects of our family of origin, and that choice to change is always ours. So if you are experiencing, repeatedly met the wrong person, and there is no way to leave the situation, then the first choice you have to taste is to understand the former self. You go to understand those imperfect relationships, see the former self. You will not be harsh on yourself, you will not be held hostage by the lack of, just for those familiar security. Repeat some of the cognition that has been ossified in the relationship. Secondly, you need to learn to focus on personal change and growth, and shift from looking outward to looking inward. Only when you are rich enough inside will you be able to revisit your relationship with a great deal of candor.